Hey there, fantasy football fans. It's your boy Robbie J. What a crazy week 3 has been in fantasy football. But hey, no worries. It's all good. We are going to get you guys set and correct. We're going to get you guys ready to play, eat, sleep, check your lineup, repeat. It's going down. Whether you are 3-0 at this point, 2-1, 1-2, or 0-3. We're here to help. Hopefully you're not 0-3. But like I said, grab a cold one, pull up a seat. It's time for the Rumboyz Fantasy Network Week 4 Waiver Wire Special. What's going on, people? Alrighty, so we definitely have a whole hell of a lot to talk about in regards to week 3 and how it went, what all went down, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Got my trusty phone here. We're going to go ahead. We're just going to run through some of the different fantasy apps out there, go through, different players that are available, talk about some situations. Saquon went down this week. Poor Saquon. That's always bad. But as always, we got to start this off the right way. Y'all know how we do. Cheers to me. Cheers to you and all the Rumboyz and girls. What it do? Dilly dilly. That's shots for the rough week that I had. So, let's actually start off with Saquon. All right, let's start off with Saquon Barkley. Now, Now with Saquon Barkley, it is a high ankle sprain. They are saying a minimum of 4, up to 6 to 8 weeks possibly. Like, this is a big gap to me. How we go from 4 to 6, and I've even been hearing reports of maybe even 8. Hopefully, Saquon, you can, rehabilitate that thing as quick as you can. You get some Adrian Peterson healing. Maybe he gives you the fountain of youth, and you get better. You get better because your backup is one Wayne Gallman. Now, from a waiver wire standpoint, I don't really know if I'm high on Gallman. I don't know if I'm wasting a waiver wire pick on Wayne Gallman. I'm just not seeing it at the given moment. Maybe I'm going to have to go back and watch some more film in order to change my mind. But at the given moment, I don't know if he's a viable replacement in Saquon Barkley's position. Maybe you take Saquon Barkley and you try and trade him to somebody that maybe you find the guy in your league that's 3-0, right? Let's say that you're 2-1 or you're 1-2, okay? And there's someone in your league that's 3-0. Maybe you go and you find the guy that's 3-0 because it's like, hey, dude, you're 3-0. Your team is solid, Now you're gonna have to probably face this guy later in the fantasy playoffs. But, maybe you hustle him, you finagle that, okay? Take Saquon. Let me get one of your bench running backs. Let me go ahead and take Mark Ingram. See if you could get one of their flex running backs. But try and see if you can move him. Either you're only going to do one of two things. Either you're keeping Saquon and you're going to bench him, or you are trading Saquon away and you are trying to get first, second round value, fringe third round value. Hell, see if someone will take on, or maybe, you take on Aaron Jones. Yeah, I've been hearing mixed reports on Aaron Jones, mixed reviews on Aaron Jones from fantasy fans. So maybe you go for Jones. But But all in all, with Saquon Barkley, you're going to have to move him off your roster. I have one share of Saquon Barkley in one league. Okay? Out of all the leagues that I'm in. And I am just simply going to bench him for now until I can figure out this whole trade scenario. Okay? But for now, Saquon's going to be on my bench, and I'm rocking with probably not the best of the best running backs. But it's going to be one of those just hope and pray that we pull out W's at this point in that particular league. Shout out to Baby League that my homie Wilkerson runs. But that's what we're really looking at for Saquon. Are you going to drop Saquon? I don't think that you panic and you drop Saquon. He's picked 1.01. He's picked 1.01. You're keeping the first overall pick in the fantasy football draft, especially if he's going to be coming back healthy for you. Okay? Maybe, you take if you have the pieces on your bench, the only scenario that you are going to go and get Wayne Gallman is if you do have the pieces on your bench to where it's like, I can afford to let this bench piece go. But if you have guys that have been putting up points on your bench, or you have guys that have upside of going out there on a Thursday night, a Sunday, or a rum day night, and putting up points for you, and in replacement of that, look, the running back position is thin enough. Let's just review some of the names at the running back position that you're more than likely looking at available on the waiver wire. Let's go ahead and dive into the rest of the running backs for the waiver wire right now. Okay? I just want to go ahead and I want to take a look, and I want to read some names off for you guys. Chris Thompson is probably going to be available to you. Maybe you go and you waiver wire for Chris Thompson over Wayne Gallman. Jamal Williams, him and Aaron Jones have been splitting carries. Now Williams is questionable at the given moments. So, Rex Burkhead, James White is gonna be back now. He had his kid. Now it's time to go get out there and go make your money and provide for that kid by playing football. So don't know if we go and we reach for Rex Burkhead, even though we did start Rex Burkhead in one league against the 2-on-1 crew last week, and we took Jay Coffee down, baby. It was lit. Tariq Cohen is potentially probably going to be available for you. Even against Washington, he only put up 2.4 fantasy points in leagues. I'm not trusting that. He ran for 0 yards week 1, 18 yards against Denver in week 2, and -2 against Washington. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. 49 yards receiving in week 1 against Green Bay. 7 yards receiving against Denver. 26 yards receiving against Washington. I'm not trusting Tariq Cohen. They're now figuring out that they can utilize David Montgomery in a variety of different ways, and he's a back that can do it all. You guys know that from me from us interviewing David Montgomery here on Sportscaster. Also, I did, months later after it went by, we gave you guys the interview over on YouTube. Y'all know what's good. Gio Bernard, Ito Smith. I mean, those are the names. Kalen Ballage. Those are the names that are on the waiver wire. Dion Lewis, Alexander Madison. None of these guys you are picking up. You're not dropping Tevin Coleman, who's going to be ready to go in week 5, reportedly, for any of those guys. You're not dropping Peyton Barber, who went off in week 2. Week 1 they didn't, or week 3 they didn't need him because they didn't need the running game at all because Mike Evans was just so on fire. certain things, game scripting just sways how these players play. You're not dropping in any of those guys. I'm sorry, it's just not happening. So at the running back position this week, I am saying that there are no waiver ads worth you adding. Gallman is the only waiver ad at the running back position with upside, and that's because Saquon is injured. And even with that, multiple reports are stating Gallman is not going to be the guy. Okay? There are a lot of reports stating that Wayne Gallman is basically trash. On 5 attempts, 13 yards, 1.3 fantasy points. ESPN's really going to project this guy at 10 fantasy points. I get that that's what he did in week 1. Week 2, there was nothing. I can't. I can't. I just can't. I don't see myself hopping on the Wayne Gallman train. Like I said, let's see in the next 24 hours. I'm going to be watching a lot of film on this kid to see if maybe I can be swayed. But from everything that I've read, nah. And with all the running backs that are available via trade, or with all the running backs that are available, mainly just via trade, and that you probably should have already had, I'm not doing it. This is a good reason why whenever you were drafting on draft day, and the Rumboyz, namely myself, Robbie J, giving you guys those draft strategies and what strategies are what, and me showing you those mocks. This is reason why you go running back heavy. This is reason why there was only about 60, 68 some odd running backs that were realistically draftable. But there's like 92, 96 some odd receivers that were draftable heading into this year. Okay? So I just want to make sure I'm reminding you guys, okay, about stuff like that, because just to show you how accurate we are and just how spot on it can be if you just listen and pay attention and follow along with the Rumboyz. Now let's get into some waiver ads in regards to let's get into some waiver ads in regards to wide receivers. Now Marvin Jones Jr. is probably going to be available for some of you. He is rostered in about 78% of leagues. Okay, so almost about 8. So there's about 20, almost about 20%, 22% of you guys out there in internet land that could pick up your phone right now, and you could probably put in a waiver claim for Marvin Jones. Now, I get it. Last week, he had 17.1 points against Philadelphia, but many people are stating, oh, well, maybe that there's a chance that, that was just a fluke. That was just a fluke is what many people want to state. Because he only had 6 points in week 1 and then 4.3 points in week 2. So, with that being said, with that being stated, averages about 9.1 fantasy points. You could probably go and get him if he's available to you. I see no reason why not. There's a big waiver ad that I really do want to talk about, and that is DJ Shark. DJ Shark. DJ Shark, ladies and gentlemen, 13.6 fantasy points. He has been in week 3. He has been in double-digit fantasy points since week 1. 21.6, 11.5, and 13.6. Those are the fantasy points that he's put up across the last 3 weeks. Fantasy fam. All of this wonderful community. Gotta stop saying shout out to the Fantasy fam. They're a wonderful podcast. Gotta stop saying my Fantasy family. I'm gonna say Fantasy family. Fantasy family. Okay, so that people don't think I'm talking about the podcast. Everyone come in together. All right, huddle around me. Huddle around me. Big, 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 big group hug. Okay? DJ Shark. DJ Shark. He's the guy. He's the guy that you go and get. He's number one waiver priority. He's the number one target in Jacksonville. He's got Beowulf, Gardner Minshew throwing to him. I like this waiver ad a whole hell of a lot. It's a shame that, you know what, let's go ahead and let's have a fantasy meets reality moment. Shout out to Adam Rink. Let's have a fantasy meets reality moment. When fantasy meets reality. In reality, there are times that in the NFL, there'll be an undrafted rookie free agent who makes a team and makes a lot of noise. And last year, that person was Phillip Lindsay. This year, in fantasy football, the person that has went undrafted in pretty much virtually all leagues has been DJ Shark. I don't know a single person that drafted DJ Shark. Period. And then let me just make something clear to you guys. He's only rostered in 41.1% of leagues. What are we doing? Go get DJ Shark. These rookies this year are balling out. I didn't interview DJ. I didn't meet DJ. Okay? But I tell you what, he's the real deal. You guys went in week 1 and everyone went and got Marquise Brown, Hollywood Brown. All y'all did it. We didn't even do a week 1 waiver wire episode because we were like, psh, everybody's gonna just shoot for the moon for this guy, and we feel like it's just too early. We told you last week to go get Scary Terry, the F1 McLaurin, F1 Vroom. And look at how that's working out for fantasy owners. By the way, Terry McLaurin is a must-start moving forward. You start Terry McLaurin now. If you have a share of Terry McLaurin, I want him in your starting lineup from here on out. Now we have DJ Shark, guys. And I told y'all about DJ Shark last week. So now here it is this week, and he's only rostered in 41.1% of leagues. If this is not the number one guy that you go after on the waiver wire, with Gardner Minshew throwing to him, I don't know what we're doing. We're clearly not playing fantasy football. We're clearly not trying to get Super Bowls. Go and get him. If you're at the top of the way, if you're 0-3 right now, and you're at the top of the waiver wire, go. What are you waiting on? Been telling you. I'm sure you have guys on your lineup that haven't produced jack shit for you all season. I know I have certain guys in some leagues where it's like, psh, man, I'm thinking about dropping this fool. DJ Shark, double-digit scoring all 3 weeks, opening up the season. Enough said right there. Let's take a look at some other names. Nelson Aguilar, 45.9% he's owned, which means almost half of you guys out there can go and get him. And he's probably available to you guys. Now I get the jokes from, you know, the wonderful, amazing, beautiful story that took place this past weekend in Philadelphia. Excuse me. Where ex-firefighter, realized that a building was on fire. And my man's was catching babies. My man said that the person in the building that was burning, the father, was just started tossing kids out the window. And the firefighters, they was catching them. Unlike Nelson Aguilar. Now, I get the joke, and it's great. It's great. That I found that video clip hilarious. And you guys can actually check that video clip out on the Rumboyz Facebook page. Make sure you guys go throw a thumbs up towards that. Okay. 15 fantasy points in week 3, 17.7 in week 2, 1.1, but Alshon Jeffrey and Deshaun Jackson were on the field during week 1. Alshon Jeffrey is projected to be suited up for Thursday Night Football. The Eagles are going to be taking on Green Bay. Now, with Alshon Jeffrey coming back off of, an injury and such, I'm not sure if I'm going to necessarily play him right away, right? I'll say that Nelson Aguilar is probably a good play here, despite that Green Bay defense looking very stout, and despite the struggles of the Philadelphia Eagles this year, because they have had some. They haven't looked the same. Like, let's just be honest. Miles Sanders averaging 3.9 yards of carries. I mean, come on. With that being said, with that being stated, I would advise, if you do not get DJ Shark, then you are going to get Nelson Aguilar. Okay? You are going to get Nelson Aguilar. Philip Dorsett, 12.5 fantasy points in week 3. He put up 21.5 in week 1, by the way. A mere just 3.9 points in week 2. But here's a guy, especially with Antonio Brown not being there, and what the numbers tell me is, so you play Pittsburgh in week 1 and you put up 21.5 fantasy points. So clearly Tom Brady likes you as a target. The whole Antonio Brown fiasco goes down. The Patriots get him from the Raiders. And in week 2, he joins you guys on the field against Miami. Miami. And every pass that virtually went to AB, at least it felt that way, minimizing you down to 3 receptions for 39 yards and no touchdowns. AB then leaves. I'm like a bird, I'm going to fly away. He goes back to online college and rants on the whole NFL. And then you come out and you put up 12.5. And that is involving a chest injury to Julian Edelman. Now, next week you play the Buffalo Bills. I would say that Philip Dorsett is a good waiver ad in a deep season scenario. I don't know if I'm starting him against Buffalo, but then you guys turn around and you play my Washington Redskins after that. And we know Josh Norman, he gives up shit. So he's making Jimmy Moreland work way too hard. But that's a different story and a different video for probably a couple hours from now. But you're playing Buffalo. I don't know how I feel about that matchup. But, more importantly, pick them up. RIP TY's quads. Yes, TY is down. I told you guys that he was going to reactivate that injury. Alrighty. So let me just go ahead and I want to rank these waiver claims. Okay. I want to go ahead. Oh, by the way, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, rostered in 49.1% of leagues. He's a must grab. Wow. I saw that Mike Williams is rostered in 89.6 and available in one league that I'm in. I don't know how I feel about Mike Williams. Not yet. So let me go ahead and rank your wide receiver waiver wire ads. All right. So we're going to go, from the top down. Highest priority, lowest priority. The very first one that you are going to go and grab is DJ Shark. You're going to go get DJ Shark. Second, Nelson Aguilar. Third, Dorsett. Fourth, Marquez Valdez-Scantling. Fifth, Marvin Jones Jr. If you place your waivers in that order, you will end up with one of them. Okay? So that's our wide receivers. Now on to the tight end. So at the tight end position, first I just want to state Will Dissly. Will Dissly. If you don't have Will Dissly yet, go and get him. Go and get him. Enough is said about Will Dissly. If Chris Carson continues to have some of the troubles that he has, look for them to probably use him a little bit less. Rashad Penny, I mean, still dealing with the minor injury. No one's trusting CJ Prosise, so guess what? They have to throw the ball. Now I'm still rocking with Chris Carson from the running back standpoint. Okay, so I don't want people to get too caught up in that. But the targets have to go somewhere, which means that I expect Seattle to probably throw the ball a little bit more in their next matchup. And here, just give me 1 second. Let's actually take a look into Dissly really fast so I can get you guys some details. He's rostered in 27.5% of leagues. So more likely he's available to you. He had 12.2 fantasy points last week. He's a guy that I would say is even on the boom or bust side. There's no telling what will really happen with him. He's 50-50. He caught 6 of 7 for 62 yards and a touchdown against the Saints. And once again, I mean that is against the Saints. Your next matchup is against Arizona. Arizona allows teams to score points. So I think that Will Dissly could be a good play for you. He had 17 points in week 2, 12.2 in week 3. His worst outing was in week 1 with 1.2 fantasy points. And that was week 1. No team is really showing who they are just yet. And just a reminder, this kid had a lot of hype surrounding his name coming into the season. Okay, so that's another thing. That's another thing. But so definitely go and get him while you still can. If you're in need of a tight end, I know that Jimmy Graham is dealing with some issues. Maybe you go get Dissly. Let's see here. Jordan Atkins, he had 19.3 fantasy points. Him and Watson had a beautiful connection. This was his only good week though. 2.5 points in week 2 and 1.7 in week 1. Not sure if I'm fully rocking with this kid. But he's there. He's a name we got to mention. We definitely got to mention Mr. 13.6 fantasy points in week 3 because this rookie, Dawson Knox, was so excited that he got an NFL touchdown. He was like, that's what an NFL touchdown feels like. Like, wow. Saw it on Twitter. I retweeted it. You guys go check it out. Dude, like, I just kind of like this kid. This is one of those I more so just like him. I'm not saying that you should go and run an Adam. If he puts up, 1 or 2 more weeks like this, then expect his name to come up on the show. But it is an honorable mention. Demetrius Harris, another honorable mention. He was only targeted twice. I feel like after the position that Baker put Njoku in, he looks a little scared to put his tight ends in those tight end. He's scared to put his tight ends in the tight spot windows, and he has every reason to be. I don't think that Baker's going to be able to get Harris the ball. I know that he did try and get Harris on a jump ball in the back of the end zone on one of his 2 targets against the Rams. They played Baltimore. I'm just not liking this addition. But, I mean, if you need a tight end, that's a guy that's probably going to see some targets. Tyler Eifert, I'm not a fan of right now. because of the whole injury. Vernon Davis is a waiver wire ad. He hasn't been shit since week 1. So hopefully you have a better tight end than all of these guys. Kyle Rudolph has been in shambles at the tight end position since last season. Gerald Everett, there's too much firepower on the Lions offense for him to even be considerable as someone that you pick up. So like I said, I mean, hopefully you have other options than what's available at tight end, because right now we are seeing a repeat of last year where the tight end position is quickly becoming a wasteland. Okay? So hang on to those pieces. Do not trade tight ends. Do not drop tight ends at all. Like, at all. Hopefully you were able to grab one like towards like the end of the rounds when you were drafting. I guess we kind of, circle back around and talk about the quarterback position right now. I mean, Matt Stafford, he should be a guy that you probably already have. Jameis Winston went off last week with 28.8 fantasy points, but he's playing the Rams next, so you're probably not going to waiver claim him. Daniel Jones is with 37.5 fantasy points in his very first start, and he gets a win. Go and get him. Go and get Daniel Jones. I think Daniel Jones could really bring some spark to this Giants offense, and he could be a guy that is playable. Jacoby Brissett, 24.6 fantasy points. Recently, Garner Minshew only had 20 fantasy points. He has yet to fully break that 20 fantasy point ceiling. Teddy Bridgewater had 18.2. Josh Allen had 20.6. Matt Stafford with 13.9. Ew. Case Keenum, 15.6. So, like, really, with the quarterback position, I mean, you already have guys better than all the quarterbacks that I just named. Maybe you take a leap of faith on Daniel Jones, but with Daniel Jones, I'd want to see at least a second week. And if he does those numbers in a second week, then yeah, come on onto my roster. Especially if I'm in a position where I was scrambling around trying to find a QB after Drew Brees went down, which I was, and I ended up playing Josh Allen. If I am scrambling because of Big Ben, or whatever the case may be, if Daniel Jones gives me a second week of that, then I'm going to go and grab. I don't know if I'm grabbing Daniel Jones in fantasy. There's going to be, if you are in a league with Giants fans, there's going to be a Giants fan that is going to stupidly drop someone and go and get Daniel Jones. They're going to drop a piece of value for Daniel Jones because it's going to be an emotional drop. They're reacting out of emotion. Oh, Daniel Jones, we told you all he was going to ball. Let me go get him. And they're going to run to the waiver wire and they're going to go and get him. And they'll probably end up either A, dropping their quarterback or for Daniel Jones, or they'll drop someone else for Daniel Jones. So be on the lookout for that scenario. Definitely be on the lookout for that scenario there. Let's see here. Want to take a look at Sleeper's trending list. Alrighty. I want to look at what players are trending over here. So Wayne Gallman, obviously trending. Darrell Williams, I didn't talk about him during the running back segment, but I mean, McCoy is always going to fight through injuries. It seems like, and it feels that way. And there's also Darwin Thompson. So I'm not sure about the ad of Darrell Williams. That's another person I want to see a week 2 out of. Daniel Jones trending. Philip Dorsett trending. Will Dissly trending. the Chargers defense because they play the Dolphins next week. Go get the Chargers defense if you can. Kyle Allen trending upwards. Taylor Gabriel trending upwards, but I'm not going to. I wouldn't. Nobody has Taylor Gabriel. I don't know if I'm running to the waiver wire for Taylor Gabriel. Fluke week, fluke night. Bears play Minnesota next. Nope. Rex Burkhead trending, which I disagree with, and I don't like that trend. The fact that he's trending upwards, despite me having a share of Rex Burkhead, and I started him last week. I just don't like it because James White's going to be playing. And there's still Sony Michel. I know that people are worried about Sony Michel right now. There's a lot of, kind of like no, like what's going on with Sony Michel? He's not being productive. But yeah, not sure about going, getting Rex Burkhead if he's available to you. Jordan Atkins, Tony Pollard, trending up. Once again, Zeke is still there. Dallas is not going to go with the running back by committee. Let's remember they did play Miami. Not sure about playing Tony Pollard or picking him up. The Jags defense trending. They're going to be playing against Denver next. DJ Shark trending. Jacoby Brissett trending. Sterling Shepard, Jamal Williams, Dawson Knox, Rojo, which I can't stand. There should be no reason why Ronald Jones is trending. Cool. I mean, he put in Sleeper. He put up 13.1 points in PPR leagues on Sleeper app. Okay, I guess Zane Gonzalez trending as a kicker. Terry McLaurin, Gardner Minshew, Greg Olsen, the Colts defense who play Oakland next. Mecole Hardman and the Steelers defense who play Cincinnati next. Let me just point something out with the Steelers defense. I'm actually liking this defense. Okay? And maybe you go ahead and you snag that defense. If you go and you snag that defense, I wouldn't blame you. I would not blame you at all. Streaming defenses is tough because you're going to be looking for the worst possible matchups week to week. And whenever you're streaming defenses, you're literally looking for teams that are facing the Bengals, teams that are facing the Dolphins, teams that are facing the Skins. After last night we faced an #1 defense, from the previous year. I mean, fuck, So I don't even know if I want to trust that take right there that I just mentioned from a fantasy football standpoint, just because defenses do usually get scored on by the Skins, and I think they could maybe pull something together. At the same time though, fuck my team, because they disappointed me. So yeah, I mean that's what I have for waiver wire ads. By trades for the week, you're trading Saquon. Kenny Golladay could be tradable. I don't know what I want to do with Aaron Jones yet. Is he tradable? Is he not? Jamal Williams getting a bulk of the carries, or half the carries, give or take. Little upside piece. Owners of Justin Jackson. There is a good chance, okay, owners that have Justin Jackson, because the the Chargers only allow running backs to touch the ball about 19 times, even when Melvin Gordon was there. Whenever they play against teams that aren't like top-notch teams, whenever they play against teams like the Dolphins, because they could just pass on you. I think Justin Jackson could have a big week. I think maybe. I don't know if I'm moving on past him yet. I know there's a lot of you that want to move past him. because Eckler has kind of just immersed himself in that role. There's nothing unless if you have really good running back depth and you don't need him, then yes, maybe you go ahead and move on past him, and you go get DJ Shark. That's a good drop and pickup scenario. That's a good exchange right there. But other than that, that is my waiver wire ads. Dante Pettis looked pretty nice. I know a couple people out there had recently dropped Dante Pettis. I was one of them. 49ers looking pretty good at 3-0 right now. But yeah. That's pretty much my waiver wire ads. If you have specific scenarios that you want me to go over and you want me to cover, then message me, reach out to me, tell me what you need at Rumboyz, spelled with a Z, N-E-T. I'm on Twitter, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook. If you type that in, you're going to find me anywhere. I'm on Rumboyz.com as well. Please go sign up for Rumboyz.com if you have not already. And this video will also be there on Rumboyz.com as well. I'm trying to think before I go if there is anything I did not talk about, a player that I did not talk about, or anything that I missed. Message me with trade scenarios so we can discuss trade scenarios. I can get you right on that. Shout out to Jake Roth. He's been messaging me very heavy. Shout out to Courtney Love Tractor 3. So many people have been hitting us up for advice in order to win their leagues, and we're helping a lot of people out there get to the trophies. This is the year to get a Super Bowl. This is the year to get a Super Bowl. Right now, it's still early. Whether you are 3-0, that could turn around very quickly for you, and that could be very quickly be the only 3 wins that you get all season. Whether you are 2-1, 1-2, or you're 0-3, it's still early. You still have time where you can rally together some wins. I've seen guys that have been 0-3 and they go on to just rally the rest of the season. It's possible. It's possible. So I mean, with that being said, guys, I mean just keep hitting us up with those fantasy questions so that we can help you win. Give us those trade scenarios on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on Sportscaster. Other than that, cheers to me. Cheers to you. And all the Rumboyz and girls, what it do. Catch me chugging beers. 316. Stone Cold Steve Austin style. Because I lost that bet because the Redskins suck. Dilly dilly. We out of here.